Greetings, friends. Jason here for AxodysFC. It is Monday night, and it's time to recap today's Spurs match with Leicester. So, the big question going into the game was who would Postecoglou start up front? What would our midfield be? I think everyone was pretty confident that the defense was locked in, and that was correct. We did have the usual four in the back plus Vicario. So midfield-wise, we ended up going with slipping here. We ended up going with Bentancur in the 6. Madison did get the start, and I would say he played very well and much closer to start of season last year's form. So that was definitely encouraging. That other midfielder was Sarr, and I didn't feel like he really distinguished himself today. I don't think he was terrible or anything, but he didn't jump out at me the way he did last season, and I felt pretty underwhelmed with him all preseason too. I felt like he's kind of underperformed or not quite been at the level that I expect of him. So, that is what it is. Forwards wise, so the big surprise or the big question too was what would Ange do with Kulusevski? And today he chose to bring him in off the bench. He was a reserve for us because Son started on the left. Solanke was at the 9, which I did anticipate. So the first two, no questions. But Johnson was the obvious right winger choice. And, I felt like Johnson was okay. He's definitely our team's current social media whipping boy, I guess you might say. People just want to hate on him. I'm nowhere near that point. He's a young player. He does a good job of getting some of those crosses in that, Ange is looking for. And now that we have Solanke, having a guy that can do that consistently is that much more valuable. And Solanke, I felt like, was good today. Showed exactly the things we were looking for. A good header threat. He had his head on a couple balls for potential shots. They weren't great crosses at that point. And so, the service to him was not outstanding today, I would say. But I saw all the things from him that I expected and that I wanted, and will pay dividends down the road. So even though he didn't score or anything like that, I was definitely pleased with what I saw, and the potential is clear as he gets more integrated into our squad, and players get a better feel for him. I'm confident that he's going to be starting to score regularly as we hope. Son, I've got to be honest, I was disappointed in. He is an enigma in terms of, or not so much an enigma, but he is an issue for Ange Ball in the sense that I think we know what Ange really wants from his wingers is for them to be wide and to beat your man off the dribble a little bit, put pressure on to go by. Really, in the last year and a half, the only winger that I felt like has done a decent job of that has been Werner. And people want to hate on Werner as well. He's like second behind Brendan Johnson. But honestly, he, to me, is the most productive, and that was, played out with his assists and good crosses and the like. But again, today he started on the bench. Sonny just doesn't offer that most of the time. and he didn't do that much. And what Son needs to get, and I heard at least one discussion of this on one of the post-game discussions on, I think it was maybe on We Are Tottenham TV or something like that. They had some fans call in or something like that. And anyway, it might have been a guy named Jory. I thought he was quite good in that regard in terms of having some good thoughts. And anyway, his observation, I want to say, was that, as we know, Son thrives in that pocket, just above or outside the box, moving across, inverting essentially, and where he can curl in those top corner shots from the edge of the box. He's so dangerous in that regard. And in Ange ball, the way we've seen it, it's rare that he gets that chance when he's playing the wing. He's either stuck. I mean, he's basically stuck and not able to get into those positions. And so it's a little bit, it's borderline infuriating in much the way Conte was, in that, this is a player's strength. We've known it forever. And if you put him in a system that never gives him a chance to make those plays, you're just wasting the end of this guy's career, basically. And so it's a little maddening when the system is such, potentially, where you don't give your best player the opportunities that he thrives on. So yeah, this fires me up a little bit. He's spot on. We're at the point, Son needs to get those chances. Like, we need to be doing stuff to get him in those situations. Anyway, so it was frustrating with our forward line. We didn't get the finishing and the conversion. We had chances, but what ended up being our lone goal in the first half was a great, basically, run from Porro into the box. Madison found him with a nice cross, and Pedro Porro put it away with his head. And I think that space was kind of generated by Solanke, being in that box and occupying some of the defenders that were already there. Exactly what we need from him. Perfection. We just need more of that. And, and we definitely did have chances. We dominated possession for the game. It was like 73%. Typical Ange ball numbers. That was good. But the problem was we didn't, convert those chances. We didn't increase that margin. It's still a one goal lead late in the second half, and then Jamie Vardy does what Jamie Vardy does, and sneaks in for a goal, kind of in a counter situation where Romero fell asleep. Romero was ball watching, just walking across the goal. Vardy creeps in behind him. Pedro Porro realizes the danger too late, tries to get there to assist, but I mean, Romero, who should be our best defender, was right there, unaware of their best striker, or their best player, theoretically. 37-year-old Jamie Vardy makes the equalizer. So very frustrating in that regard. And then, of course, people are like, going on about our defensive, or our deficiencies on defense. But really, I mean, that was kind of a one-off. We're maintaining that possession that, keeps the ball out of the opponent's hands. And the main thing is we have to be better on offense. I think I expect it to be very hard for us to get clean sheets in Ange Ball. We've got to score more, especially when we dominate the possession that much and have it on their end that much. And so that's the biggest thing to me. But the other thing to talk about, of course, is our the way the substitutions worked out. Unfortunately, too, Bentancur had been playing really well, and then he ended up going out. I think he went out prior to the score. That's a question. I don't remember the sequence quite right on that. So did they score? And then it was he. Anyway, he had a head collision, which they never showed any replays that I saw. They never showed him on the ground. So anyway, he was knocked out by the situation. I understand not showing him or whatever, but I was surprised that they never even showed a replay of the sequence where I was watching. So anyway, that delayed the game by about 10 minutes. And we had already been planning to do substitutions at that point. And it was kind of wholesale substitutions, which surprised me a little bit. But at the same time, I'm happy to see all those subs being used. Ended up being Bergvall, which, note, I'm a little frustrated in that the announcer was pronouncing him as Bergvall, which I think might actually be the Swedish correct pronunciation of his last name. But I've sure seen, I haven't seen any, clarification from the club. I couldn't find, I did a little digging, couldn't find, a pronunciation guide for the Spurs for player names. I mean, it's important to me to get names right. And here we are, months into having him, and it's still unclear to me if he should be Bergvall or Bergvall. Because I'm pretty sure, Ali Gold, who has actually interviewed him and in person, has always called him Bergvall, Lucas Bergvall. Yeah, anyway, frustrating when you have many different last names that could be challenging for English speakers to not have clear, documentation of the correct pronunciation. I mean, it's just respect the players and your fans or whatever. But anyway, side note over. So anyway, Bergvall, Archie Gray, both came in the midfield. Madison went out as well. Richie came in, although I think he came in later. Not positive on that one. Yeah. And Kulusevski did come in. Werner came in, and he's been playing Werner as on the right, which is super frustrating because he's not as good on the right wing compared to how he is on the left. And so far we had seen this in the preseason that he seems to be wanting to play him on the right a lot because we don't have guys that are other than Johnson. Kulusevski, I think can play there, but we really want him more centrally now. And it's a challenge with the rotations. And I felt like Bergvall was quite good, actually, when he came in. But he did have a giveaway where he was double teamed, though, too. So I don't know. It wasn't... He got berated by Vicario after the play, but he was pressed and double teamed there on the sideline. So I didn't feel like, I didn't feel like he was that deserving of what he got from Vicario, because that's a scenario where generally Ange wants him to try and get out of there. So that was surprising, and that was huge overreaction to me from Vicario, or not helpful, or borderline ridiculous. So yeah, I was a little disappointed in that. He seemed to like just take it stoically, but I don't know. Other people said he didn't play as well after that. I don't know that that's necessarily true, but yeah. Anyway, I felt like Archie Gray and Bergvall, definitely looked fine out there. Archie Gray, I thought was okay, but we were still we were getting pressured a lot more late in the game, and we didn't react to it as well, I would say. Anyway, it came down to, though, we had one last chance where we got a free kick. Bergvall took it. It was perfect in my mind. I think if Solanke had been in there still, I think he would had a very good chance to have put it away. Instead, it was Richie on the receiving end, and he blew it. And and Postecoglou had a pretty visible physical reaction where he literally like bent over and just like stared at the ground after that play. And very, very frustrating. So overall, disappointing game for one that we had in control from the beginning. To end up with a draw like that, to not be able to capitalize on our chances. I think there's plenty of promising things. Madison, definitely, to me. But there are some pretty disappointing things, like our best defender making a glaring error like that. That's not even it's not like a systematic thing. It's like, you've got one job, Romero, protect that back post. Don't watch the ball and lose track of the threat on your side. So, I mean, it's starting point. We get 1 point and get ready for, I guess it's Everton at home on Saturday. So looking forward to that one. I think Everton got roughed up in their last game. I don't remember who it was, but hopefully we can continue that trend and get 3 points. So as always, thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy these. I think we're 2 subscribers away from 50, so every little milestone counts. And remember, to dare is to do.